Welcome to another episode of the Strategies for the Workplace podcast. Before getting into the article, just a quick reminder that the book from which these articles are taken is now available on Amazon in print and digital Kindle format. Search for Strategies for the Workplace by Jeffrey Kahn. The book has over 220 articles and is a great way to get all the material without having to wait for the weekly podcasts. And now, on to this week's article. Necessary and sufficient. The words necessary and sufficient may be used in business to draw a distinction between something that is required, the necessary part, and yet alone is not enough to achieve some goal, thus insufficient. For example, it is necessary to be at least a certain age to be granted a driver's license, but age alone is not sufficient. You must also pass a test. Passing the test while underage is not going to work. Reaching qualifying age without passing the test is not going to be enough. You need both. In business, applying for some permit may require an application fee as well as the construction passing inspection. The point is to recognize that folks may confuse some basic requirements with doing enough to meet some objectives. They are focusing only on what is necessary, without appreciating that this alone will not be sufficient. Let's apply this a bit. To make the distinction between necessary and sufficient in another way, we can say that it is necessary that a figure have 4 sides to be a square. 4 sides alone are not sufficient. It could be a rectangle. All sides must be equal and meet at right angles, for only then do we have a square. It's useful to understand what minimum actions must take place before a goal can be approached. These minimums may be referred to as ante or table stakes, to borrow words from gambling. We want to know what it will take to even get in the game. We also should appreciate that entry on its own may not take us very far. Consider a company that wishes to expand from the US to, say, Canada. Some things may be necessary, such as meeting some financial or regulatory requirements. Perhaps you need to open a local store and price items in Canadian dollars. Perhaps you need to convert product details to the metric system and translate product information into French. Yet these activities may not be sufficient. You may need to tailor your offerings to the Canadian customer. Learning to recognize when something is necessary but not sufficient is an important analysis skill. Like establishing purpose before action, it is helpful to determine if something is necessary, desirable, and appropriate. If something is necessary, it should be done. If something is not necessary, it can be done or not done. You do not have to limit your actions to only what is necessary. Just because something is not necessary does not mean it should not be done. The important thing is to recognize that you are dealing with an optional rather than a mandatory element. Not all activities are desirable as a matter of taste or style. Some activities may be a matter of necessity rather than preference. It's useful to consider if what you are contemplating doing is, in fact, a desirable action. Not everything that you must do or want to do is appropriate. It's best not to fool yourself into thinking something is appropriate when it isn't.